You recording?
Yeah.
Welcome to the LGBTQ Transgender Rainbow Podcast, where we celebrate and empower the entire rainbow community and its members, transcending boundaries and embracing.
Uh-oh. And there we go. Come on. Come on. Come on. And of course, my internet's going to do a hiccup.
Uplift one another.
Well, folks, so much for that.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, my button is missing. There we go. Well, technical difficulties.
Always something. But hey, we here. That's all that matter.
All right. Well, folks, this is what we're talking about tonight. LGBTQ people are not unified. Um, and and that's definitely for sure. Uh, we're
Us
broken
grown,
up.
a grown topic to jump in.
Uh, I mean, just for example, uh, now if you look at this, okay, you you see what appears to be light going into the prism and multiple colors coming out. Okay, and that's what's happening right now. We have light going into the prism and it's splitting. We're all split apart. Okay, but if we were to come together and enter that prism, we'd come out unified.
As one.
So so that's what we need to do. Uh, so I think the first thing we need to do, and I've seen it on a couple of sites, about the disunity. And a lot of the disunity revolves around racism.
Mm.
There's a lot of racism within the LGBTQ plus community. And that's fracturing us even more. Um,
Good point. Very good point. Eh,
let's see if I can pull up this article. Not yet. think it was in Out magazine. I'm not really sure. But I'd have to read some of this. It might not be in this one. Might be in the other. All right, let's see. Let's see. LGBTQ Nation has got a bunch of stuff. Let's see, what else we got here? I didn't find what I was looking for. Should have been right on top. And of course, they refresh the stuff, so it's like, then you got to go hunting. Anyway, let's try getting out. How about the Advocate? Oh, that's interesting. Let's pull that article up. Teenagers found guilty in brutal murder of a transgender girl, Brianna Gay. And this was in the UK. It says because of their ages, the accused are called Boy Y and Girl X in public.
So
and it
the
said
suspects are being
it said that
been hidden because of their age.
yeah, right. And it says the jury took only 4 hours to find them guilty.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
4 hours.
4 hours to find them guilty of murder, and their lives are over.
That's sad. Because in 4 hours seems like it's a lot of time, but it would fly by fast. And for four, you said how many people?
2.
2.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they male.
No, 1 male, 1 female.
Wow. It typically always be men that do the actual murdering of trans women. So to hear that a biological woman or was a part of the actual, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised because anybody can take a life. So, but typically always be the guys. It's like you have this thing about being with a trans woman and their peers finding out, and then now I have to dispose of my sexual desires.
Right. And a lot of the crime that's against us from the cisgender world is people that really have a deep-seated either homosexuality to them, or they're queer, or and they hate that about themselves. So
I would say another position of it is a part of it is peer pressure, like among peers, it's trying to be accepted
Yeah.
among your peers. That hey, like it was a guy in New York who committed suicide because of the same thing. Um, they had it on video right here in New York about 3 years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, where they walking down the street and the guys was picking on him because he was walking home with the female that he was dating, the trans woman he was dating, and he ended his life. He took his life, and
Wow.
um, I think, and then she took her life because she fell into a deep depression because she knew that he died because he loved her. So so she took her
Right.
own life. So peer pressure is a lot when it comes to dating a trans person or a trans person experience, because you gotta have strong skin to date one of us. You have to. You have to have that
Right.
mind frame that you don't care about what society thinks of you when you are entering into a relationship, a romantic relationship with a trans person. But
Right.
I'm pretty sure someone in those two was romantically involved with that young lady, and the other one was helping the the other person. 9 out of 10 is gonna be the female
Right.
helping the male.
Yeah. And I mean that happens a lot, and people hide that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it may come out later. We don't know. Um, so anyhow, there's a couple of things I wanted to address.
Okay.
Let's see. Um, Now this was a Pride Pride magazine's site. It says 10 gender identities recognized by cultures outside of the U.S. Um, and basically, it's saying that um, the idea of gender is predominantly a Western concept,
Yeah.
and plenty of other cultures and countries recognize a third, if not sometimes even a fourth or fifth uh,
On the birth
gender that
certificate.
exists. Yeah, it's the human spectrum, you know. Um,
I tell my friends all the time, if you take a newborn baby and you never identify them as a male or female, they they would just live their life. You teach
hmm
your child what gender is. They don't come into the world thinking that they are a male or female. We
Right.
engrave that into them. You are one or the other. That's it. So
You,
I can believe
I
it.
mean, one of the things that I remember growing up, uh, if you got an outie or a boy, if you got an innie or a girl, it's like, and that's parents pushing that, and it's wrong, you know, and especially if it's a highly religious home that they really push it, and you know and they the kids leave home, they're runaways and stuff like that. They become homeless. I've even read where parents just kick them out of the house, you know um, and it's not right.
I agree.
Okay, here's that article I found, that I was talking about as far as racism. And this was in the LGBTQ nation. Um, the bear and leather communities have a big racism problem. Um, Now, racism exists within all the communities, but it seems like um, it's a in that community. Um, it seems they're excluding, you know, the people of color.
I can see that.
And
I can see that. I actually have a friend that who consider himself to be. I think he said he is a baby bear. I'll make sure I get this terminology right. And he is
right,
actually trans. And from the pictures I see, It's very dominated by everyone that's not of black black background.
right,
So to see him in that space is can see how it be shocking to others because I'm not saying that no one could try anything, but it's it's not diverse. It's very not diverse.
right. And yeah,
And
the person who,
he actually is Mr. World Bear of 2022. And the from the pictures I see him post, I mean they there, but they're like handful
mhm,
amongst the audience that is dominated by white, Spanish. I mean, and then people, and I say Spanish, I mean light Spanish, not dark skinned Spanish. It's a difference. You know, you have
right,
some Spanish people that can pass to be white if you don't ask them, and you got your dark skinned Spanish. So yeah, so I see it all the time. So
yeah. Well, the person who wrote this article put an African proverb up as well, and it got to me thinking about the LGBTQIA youth that have been really stigmatized um, by not even just the adults within our community, but outside of the community. And the proverb says, "The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth."
ooh.
Yeah,
I can, you know what? I can actually see that happening because when y'all used to go, I'm not a big club fan, but when I do go to the club, I can see the division between, like I said, when we spoke privately, I can see the division between race. I can see the division between sexual orientation. I can see it in between actual race, like you said. I can see it in even how much you make, how much money you make. I mean,
oh
we're
yeah,
even divided amongst even with the money we make. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
so I see it happening where that new age or new kids that are coming into the club scene and then trying to find their footing and their way in the nightlife of being in the LGBTQ community. I could see them actually shredding it with trying to dismantle what they are seeing. So I can see
right.
that happening.
And we got to do better. We really need to do better. Um, oh, here's an interesting article. Uh, I guess it's the Live with Kelly and Mark
Yeah.
show. Um, and it says Kelly and Mark, the LGBTQ plus allies we didn't know we needed. Um, let's see. I read it, and there was a couple of places I wanted to highlight on because they cover everything like in this, all the way back to 1951, and then they talk about Ellen DeGeneres, and then they, you know,
I, to
and
me,
stuff.
to me, and this is just my personal feeling about Ellen. She's not a good role model. She's not.
Who, Kelly?
No, Ellen.
Oh, um,
And the reason I say that is because she gives off this false narrative that you have to look a certain way
yeah.
for and if you look at the typical white masculine female, they look like Ellen. They dress like Ellen. But their demeanor is all Ellen because that's all they see as representation. It's no diverse at all. Ellen or Rosie O'Donnell. Ellen
Oh, don't
is
get me started on Rosie
I
O'Donnell.
mean is older
Rosie
than them.
O'Donnell just, she's an embarrassment. I'm sorry, she is a major embarrassment.
And last time I seen Ellen, she was in the Jerry Jones football stadium up there with him clapping on sitting right next to him, and his views on on the rainbow people is not pretty. So for her to be sitting next to him was a shocker. So I would have to pass on her. I'm very much had to pass on her.
Mm. Well, this article mainly goes and talks to Mark Consuelo, Kelly Ripa's husband.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. I mean, it talks about all kinds of different stuff. Um, and the writer of this article, for the advocate says, um, he says, well, I also know that another thing that is important to you guys is your support for our community, the LGBTQ community. And he said, one thing I love about your show is that you have tons of queer guests, which puts them in living rooms everywhere. Um, Having people be open, talk about themselves, it normalizes things the way they should be. Um, and then let's see. He asked Mark, having said that, and because our community is so important to you, what do you think about our community coming under attack, particularly this year? And Mark said, well, I think it's just horrible. You know, I remember doing the gay marriage plays at the Minetta Lane Theater, which was about 12 years ago, so that was before gay marriage was passed in New York and in the US. Remember that I couldn't believe we had so many friends that couldn't get married in New York. And then when they could, thinking, okay, great, they finally got acceptance. And now having that and so many other rights questioned and the community coming under attack, it feels like things are going backwards. And that is really troubling and upsetting. I've been saying that for a while. Um, And he said, yet I think there's no better community that's ready to fight than your community. I think you have fought for so much. And while it's awful that you have to keep fighting, no one else knows how to fight like the LGBTQ plus community and standing up for what's right. The problem is, Mark, I don't know if you're going to listen to this or not. Let me address that. Yes, we we fight and we fight hard sometimes, but that's only when we uh, put aside our differences, even if it's for an hour. You know, back um, years ago in my hometown, there was a billboard wall, and you had a billboard by the anti-LGBTQ community. And so the Gay Community Center put up their own billboard in response. And of course, I was front and center when they took the picture for that. So, but it was for like, I don't know, for hour and a half, 2 hours, that everybody within the community came together, you know, and even allies came out. But, you know, after the event was over, everybody goes their own ways. You know, you lose connection with everybody. Everybody's too busy doing this and too busy doing that, and they just don't have time for you. And
I have time for the cause.
right. And so, you know, now here in San Diego, it's not too bad as far as fundraising for stuff like housing for LGBTQ youth that are homeless. I think they're actually over and above their budget. And so that's okay. Let me see. I had somebody make a comment. Sorry, everybody. I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers. Yeah. Noxious Regimio. I'm sorry, but you're advertising to the wrong people. We can do a lot of advertising on our own. I have a pretty good following, and Amira has a pretty good following, so we don't need your advertising. All right. Let's see. Where did I put that? Oh, let me pull this up. I don't know how many people on TikTok listen to my show, but also follow Tiziant. Tiziant, he does a lot of news articles, and it does a lot of it does address our LGBTQ community. Let me see if I can pull that up. All right, and it's going to cover my face for a minute.
I'm just giving you a moment to absorb that headline. St. Louis police crash into LGBTQ bar and arrest its owner. The whole building shake and ran downstairs. He came down to find a police SUV in his building and an officer demanding to see his identification. What? Pence says he replied, "No, you don't. That's a police cruiser in my building. You don't need to see my ID. This is not how this works." Pence says he was spun around and placed in handcuffs. There is no crime that has happened. Police crashed into his business, and there are people in the business. And the cop's like, yo, who are you? Identify yourselves. What the fuck? And what terrible crime did the other co-owner commit that he was arrested and taken away? Well, according to Pence, the co-owner Wick was taking videos and photos of the police vehicle when, according to Pence, 3 of them officers went for him. He raised his arm and they said that he hit them. And while Pence was let out of cuffs, Wick was taken away. Pence spent the next morning cleaning up, but also calling around for hours trying to even find his partner. Couldn't find him. Finally found him at Central Booking. And of course, in the light of a new day, cooler heads prevail. You figure police are like, hey, listen, we all made mistakes. We're gonna send you on your way. We're gonna figure this all out. That's what happened, right? No! They charged him with felony assault on an officer. A police cruiser crashed into their business at almost 1 a.m. The police immediately started demanding their IDs and treating them like it was their fault. How dare you put this building where our car was trying to drive? You got a problem with the police? Don't take pictures and photos that any sensible person would do, like for their insurance? So they go at him, and he's like, they're like, you tried to hit us now? And they're rolling with that. They're charging him with a felony. Pence said that the officer who ran into the bar told him that he had swerved to miss a dog in the street. And Pence said that they do have security camera footage of the crash. He's just not making it public. I wonder if the security cameras are pointed at the street and show if there even was a dog or not. Either way, there were definitely security cameras inside of the bar. According to the arrested co-owner's attorney, they show that the St. Louis police are absolutely lying and that his client never assaulted them. I think the statement says something to the effect of, you can't just get mad that someone yelled at you and then charge them with felony assault.
There was no dog.
A bunch of people reached out to me about this, several who live in the area and who know these 2 owners, and went on and on about how great they are, how much they do for the local community. The local community is watching.
No
the
dog.
local community knows these 2 gentlemen. And to the St. Louis Police Department, you are currently showing them everything they need to know about you. I'm just giving you a moment to absorb that headline. St. Louis police crash into LGBTQ bar and arrest its owner. Last night, around 12:30 a.m., a St. Louis police cruiser smashed into the front window of an LGBTQ bar, but it was the bar's co-owner who wound up getting arrested and is currently being held.
That is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, can you imagine running your establishment and just serving your guests, and in to the right, you see a car headlights coming blazing straight into your building while you are serving your patrons their beverages. I mean, what it like to have a business be part of the Rainbow Coalition, as I call us, and the audacity to have yourself get arrested at your business when you did nothing wrong. It don't make sense to me. You cannot make that make sense to me at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, I've seen the video clip that was from different camera views.
Yeah.
And there was no dog, and 2, it looked like the cop was just not paying attention and
it
started
sounded like he
swerving.
was drunk. It sounded like the police was drunk and he was trying to cover up something, and he didn't want his colleagues to know that he been drinking and driving while he was on duty. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take you in for me crashing my car into your facility. And because you backmouth me, I'm going to say you hit me. And they're not going to question anything I said because I have the badge and you do not have the badge. So I'm going to put these clips on you, and we're going to take you down and press some charge against you. That's what that sounds like. And then that's sad.
Yeah.
It sounds just like Orlando, where we still ain't hear nothing about that yet, of the mass shooting and that's killed those people in that club that night just because they was entertaining themselves, minding their own business. We have not came together as a one and demanded justice for that. They just put a band-aid on it, hid it underneath the table, and we going on our merry way.
Um, Now I heard that Pulse nightclub um, did raise enough money to replace the memorial. Um, so I'm watching the news for um, the memorial update.
And we need to watch that. Definitely need to watch
So,
that. Because, I mean, it seems like that's all it's going to get. It's not going to get any justice because, I mean, to people in the police department, they got what they deserve. And that's it. I mean, it's really not nothing major they want to do to it. But it was someone else that's not of the LGBTQ community that they go hard for 'em. And they just from experience.
right now, my question is in St. Louis is how many of the community are going to stand up? Um, Now, are they going to really stand up? Because a lot uh, of St. Louis is, I think St. Louis is like 65% black, if I'm not mistaken. Um, which that would make, um, maybe I don't know, but I would say that um, the people of color would outnumber the uh, white community there. Um,
That sound very
but
good. But as a black
but
man, transparent black man, the will you tell them the black community, from my experience of being on this world for 40 years, they do not stand behind the community. So at the end of the day, if a black man that is in St. Louis, if he comes out and say he's gay or he's trans or she's a lesbian or she's bisexual or she's transgender woman, they don't see your blackness anymore. That black card has been got, it has been taken.
mm,
You are now on your own. And I tell people that all along. We are so divided. It's like a pyramid. We are so divided as far as you can break down a pyramid to even in your own community of your nationality, that when you as a black man, me as a black trans man, I am seen at the bottom of the totem pole because it gonna always go to male, black, and then it go women, and then it's gonna go gay men, and then it's gonna go lesbian, and then it's gonna go. I'm sorry. Go back up. Go bisexual man, bisexual woman, bisexual man, gay man, lesbian. We are at the bottom of the totem pole. Dave Chappelle said it best. I don't agree with Dave Chappelle about a lot of stuff he says, but he says it's best. The trans community is outside the car when the gay black and the gay white man is controlling everything that happened with the car. We are on a hood. Everybody else is inside the car. So imagine taking that and then say, okay, then now let me break it down even further with the race. The race. Now the black trans man, the black trans woman, we are on the top. I mean, shit, we damn near underneath the dirt. We basically underneath the tire of the car. So even though that community is so huge in St. Louis, they only gonna do something if it's a straight black male or a straight black female. And they only gonna do it for a certain amount of time. They attention, the black community attention span is short. It's very short. We could be fighting for something, and 5 months later, it's what? It's who? We ain't doing that no more. So imagine putting a imagine putting a rainbow issue on top of that and asking them to stand firm behind it. Because to be honest, we are both minorities. You know what I mean? Minorities. You got the trans.
Right.
I'm black, and then I'm trans. So I have two X's on my back. I tell people all the time, if something happens, I would not have the black. They would say, I earned that. I earned that. Whatever happens to me, I earned it, and it's sad. So to want them to do something about what happened at this club, I doubt it. I mean, and it's sad for me
I
to say
doubt it
that.
too.
Yeah, it's sad for me to say that because they live in fear. Black people live in fear. They live in that. Oh, if it is not at my front doorstep, then I'm not going to intervene. Especially with the police.
Right.
Especially with the police, the way the police have this trigger man mindset of pulling a gun and asking questions later, they're not gonna intervene, and they gonna say,
No.
"Well, we got two white men who have had their building vandalized or ran into by a vehicle of the police department. Let them handle their situation. They're not gonna, and it's bad, and it's bad. I get it. It's bad, but I live on raw truth, and that's just my opinion on it. So what you think?
Right. Well, I saw, I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know, I saw that both the owners of the bar was white, and then I was like, well, you know, they build these bars, put these bars in predominantly a downtown area, low rent uh, districts,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they do this on purpose because they know um, that they can get more of the people of color in than they can for the whites. Now,
Now I was just finna
within the
say that.
white within the white community, there's issues as well.
Now
Now,
I was gonna say, I'm
back
gonna
in my
cut you off.
hometown,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's a couple of clubs on one road that are uh, LGBTQ, and you know it's probably about 50-50 as far as who goes in there. Um, and then, but a lot of them are there for the drag queens.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, and once the drag show is over,
They
they're
gone.
gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um,
And they don't get
now
that until
the
the drag queen show start. I remember that. They ain't gonna come
right,
in until they know the first set is gonna happen. So between
right,
9 and 11, ain't nobody in there. You got your little ones and twos, but by 11:30, that's when people coming in because they know the drag show finna start. And I
yeah,
agree, the people that actually go to these type of clubs, minorities, is in there, and they are is high. The number is high, and I'm pretty sure that same club, that same bar that this police has ran his car into, has a lot of black and Spanish people that comes in and patronize this club.
right,
And they, you know what, they might come together. Those people in that might patronize this club might come together to help them get it fixed. But to go down to the courthouse and make them, or go down to this precinct and make them hold that police accountable, they're not gonna do.
no,
They would just go ahead and help them get that bar back up to running, so they can just sweep it underneath the rug and let it go bye
right.
bye. But
Let it
actually,
get fixed. We'll fix up the bar,
because that's
and
something they
and
need.
then you say nothing else about it.
Don't say nothing, because that's something that they desire. They need it so they can keep on doing what they want to do. But getting that charge off his fit record, going down there and getting that police held accountable, going down there and pressuring the commando of the precinct, going down there to voice their rights and letting them know that we the people ain't gonna stand for this. Mm-mm. They're not gonna do that. We just gonna go ahead and do a fundraiser. We're gonna do a drag queen show, raise the
Mm-hmm.
money, and we're gonna donate our tips to the ball so they can get that that wall fixed. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not good, but it's not good enough.
Right. And that's basically what we started talking about for this show is that the community is fractured.
Yeah, yeah, it
We can't
is.
come together. I mean, we can't come together even on a simple matter like this.
No, I agree.
You
I
know,
agree. So something massive
um,
like a death, someone getting murdered, I mean, we're not holding anyone accountable. The key thing is holding
right.
somebody accountable and coming together and doing it together and not
Hmm.
letting up because it's too many trans women dying and there's too many senseless act of like this right here. This was senseless. This was, I mean, not saying it couldn't be prevented because it happened,
Well,
but
it could have been prevented. All you had to do is hit the brakes.
yeah, it could have been prevented. But what I'm saying is that it happened. But to use it as an example to show them, like, yo, think before you do anything. Because these people over here will make us pay for our consequences. We ain't had that.
Hmm.
We haven't had anything that makes someone think. That's why we have so many deaths in our community. Even, I mean, even back in the early 90s and, when they was killing gay men from best being gay and killing
Right.
lesbians just for being lesbian. Wasn't nobody holding those victims, killers, accountable for their actions. Even down to the day, how they killing trans women and the man, the person that doing the killing, because it typically could be a man. He is glorified as a hero. He did something.
Right.
He turns into, it turns them into, okay, he did this because he was being tricked. No. Why? No, nobody in the community saying, nah, we gonna stand up for this person and making y'all see that it was wrong for you for killing this person. None of that is
Right.
happening. We just
No.
saying, well, there go another person dead. Let's get a T-shirt or let's do a fundraiser. And we
Hmm.
love fundraisers. But we don't know now. We gonna do a fundraiser at the club. We gonna raise some money. We gonna do it about drag queens gonna get together. They gonna do a show. They gonna get them tips and they gonna donate it to the family. We gonna do that. So I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, right. Well, depends
On this side.
on my screen. On this screen, there we go. Right there
Yeah.
is a couple of QR codes. Um, Scan one of them and donate to the show. Um, Buy a mirror of coffee,
Yes, buy me a coffee. Buy me a
or
coffee.
buy us a soda.
Either one
Um,
I take.
okay. Um, anyway, what is it going to take to get us together? What do you think?
What is it gonna take to get us together? I
I mean,
think,
we kind of came together uh, as a whole for marriage equality.
yeah, that was a big thing. That was a big thing. And
Okay, that was the last big oomph that we've had.
I think that we need more leaders. We need more leaders so that those leaders can come together to organize so that they can go back over here, over there, over there, over there, and bring it back together. Because right now we just scattered all out. We I got an idea, you got an idea, he got an idea, he got, how we gonna fix this? But we not come together. But if we got somebody over here, we got somebody over there, we got somebody over here, got somebody over there. Now let me get up all this and we come together with those things. And let's sit down and brainstorm and work on coming together. But if you got
Right.
no one, it's like we blind and we just walking
Mm-hmm.
You just walking. You're just out there, just mingling. No one is guiding us to actually fixing and making things better with topics and issues that we are having. I mean, for example, we still talking about the bathroom. Like we still talking about the bathroom. Like the bathroom is for pissing and shitting. Why are we
Mm-hmm.
still arguing over the bathroom? But if we would have some leaders to, hey, sit people down, talk to people, educate people on why this topic is major, and then come and get the masses and bring us together and say, okay, look, we need to get on the same page. Now, what you want us to hear? Educate us all at one time on what you need all us to do.
Right.
But if
But
we,
the thing of educating those in the cisgender world is they have to want to listen.
I'm not even saying educate the cisgender world. You have some people in our community that don't want to be
Within
educated.
our community as well.
You
Yeah.
don't. You got to start home first.
Uh-huh.
I literally just seen a post on my page 2 days ago from a trans woman who tried to down a trans man from having sex with a man. And it infuriated me because you are a trans woman that should be educating everybody about sexual orientation and gender. And I got to come on your page to educate your people on your page about the things that you should be educating it. That goes back to the original topic of me saying we need to have a leader somewhere that is saying, okay, let me get about it, let me get about my children, us, and say, hold on, y'all. If we gonna do this, I gotta be on the same page. You can't be over here saying one thing, and you can't be over here saying one thing, because then the people out on the outside is looking at them and saying, look, that's a whole mess over there.
Right.
Look what they doing over there. That's a whole mess. They don't know what that is, and that person saying one thing and that person saying one thing, and they don't both don't make sense. So they don't know what they talking about. They just living a whole chaotic mess over there, and then we're not taking serious because we're not on the same page.
Right.
So before we can go out there and educate the man on the corner who don't know nothing, who don't know that cisgender was made by a real woman, the word cisgender.
Yeah.
And we cannot claim something we didn't make, but those are examples that if we don't know that, how can I expect for him to learn that? Because we all ain't on the same page. So until we all get on the same page and get educated together and come together saying the same thing, then we'll be more stronger when I go out there and try to educate Lil John over here about X, Y, and Z, because you'll be saying the same thing I'm saying. But when our stories,
Yeah.
our philosophies and our education change, just it changed just by a smidget, then it don't hold truth. It don't hold weight to it.
Okay. Well, it's getting late here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to get up in about 6 hours. Isn't
Welcome
that
to my
something else?
world.
Oh, I am always tired. Anyway, um, I'm gonna let the audience know that after the first year, we're gonna be scheduling guests, um, and um, so the guest interviews, some of them will be free, and the rest of them you're gonna have to sign up for Patreon
Mm-hmm.
to get the interview. Uh, we might give you a teaser clip, but
But that's it.
that's about it. Um, Now we will be putting a schedule up to let you know when the guests are coming on. Um, and once that starts, we'll also put up the Patreon link, and then we can go from there. Anyway,
Exciting year coming up.
huh?
An exciting year coming up next year.
Oh, you ain't kidding. All right. Well, you'll probably see us sometime. Let me see. Before the end of the year.
Yeah. Yep.
It should be. Let me turn that off. No, actually, let me turn that back on. So let me put the closing thing up here. And you'll hear us chat back and forth while it goes up.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Today, we discuss the concept of harmony and unity in the context of the LGBTQ